Hi and welcome to the Little Bits Honey Bee YouTube channel. I'm Joe May. Today this is all for beginners, so if you're not just a beginner, this video is not going to help you, or you may not even want to watch it. Welcome to all you first-time beekeepers, and I know you don't know what size foundation or anything to buy. I'm going to try to help you along today. Typically, you're going to run an 8-frame box. That means there's 8 frames that fit in there. Like this. A lot of people run 10-frame. I like to run 8-frame because the 2 outside combs the bees don't hardly draw out in a 10-frame box. But if you're going to get your package or your nuke box, or nuke, whichever you get for your bees, you need at least 2 deeps. They measure 9 5/8 tall. When they talk about a deep, that's the height. Here's a let me get a medium box. This is a medium box beside of it. This is what you use for your honey supers. It's not as tall. It takes different frames. But for each hive you get, you'll need 2 deeps. And this is the deeps will be your brood chamber. And then you'll buy 2 mediums, whatever size you get, a 10-frame, 8-frame. Nuke boxes is kind of a specialty. They're not going to, you can't keep them in there. They'll grow so fast you can't keep them in a nuke box very long. 3 weeks, 4 weeks, about all you can keep them. So that's the equipment on the box. You need that. You need a bottom board. This particular is a nuke bottom board, but like that. Typically just a piece of plywood with raised ends. It'll be thinner, narrower on one side than the other. You want to put the 3/4 of the taller side up for your bottom board. Now this is if you're talking 8, 10 frame nukes, whichever, it's all the same. You start them out with 1 deep. And you don't put any more boxes on there than they got filled. Wait till they fill most 3/4 of the frames up in each level before you give them more. You'll need a way to feed your bees. Now I picked one that didn't have a milk jug in it. This is a hive top feeder that I build. It's on Fat Bee Man's design. You put a milk jug cut in half right here. You got to have a way to feed your bees. Either with a hive top feeder. They make entrance feeders that you can put in here. They make frame feeders. I don't particularly like frame feeders because it drowns some bees and it puts a lot of moisture in the hive. So I would stick to a hive top feeder, which you can buy. Manley, Kelly, all of them, they sell all the stuff. Or a front entrance. The front entrance, it doesn't hold as much as a hive top feeder. And you have a tendency to get a little robbing at the front of the entrance, and that's not a good thing. They make 2 different kinds of bottom boards. I run solid bottom boards. The reason I run solid bottom boards, kind of like the store. You come out here in the morning and the grass is all wet with dew and you get your feet all wet. Well, if you got a screen bottom board, when that sun hits that ground, all that moisture goes up in the hive. And moisture, you don't want a lot of moisture in your hive. So I run solid bottom boards. And of course, you need a lid. There's 2 kinds. This is a telescoping. It goes over the outside of the hive. The wind doesn't blow them off as much. They stay on good and they don't warp as much. A migratory cover is just a piece of plywood. It's the same width as this, sets on top and got 2 end blocks. They have a tendency to warp up and let bees in, so you need the lid. So that builds us a hive. This is what you're going to start out with: a bottom board, a deep, a feeder of some sort, and a lid. And I know you're going to buy new stuff and they're not going to come with vent holes. I drilled 2 vent holes in every box, honey supers or brood chambers, and put 1/8 inch hardware screen wire and an 1/8 inch hardware cloth over that and stapled in there. That helps ventilate things. Okay, now we get in a big controversy on frames and wax. These are deep frames. They go in your deep boxes, and this would be a medium frame. But they're all the same length. These frames will fit in a nuke box, an 8 frame, or a 10 frame box. There's nothing to do with difference on that. Okay, a lot of people run plastic because they think it's easier. The bees don't really like plastic very well. I cut starter strips. All mine is foundationless bees. I put this inch starter strip in the top. Them bees will get in there and draw that out faster than if I put a full sheet in. There's 2 different kinds of frames. This is a cleated frame. This little cleat breaks out and you set this wax in here and you push this cleat back up tight and staple it in. It holds your foundation in. And I like that kind because I use starter strips, and this here is a slotted type. It's got a big slot, runs in the top. You drop your foundation. Anyway, you drop that down in there and it just fits in the bottom groove. But if you run starter strip, the only way to get this foundation in there is to melt wax and paint it on with a paintbrush, and I don't like that. And this groove in the top gives a place for wax moths and hive beetles to get, and the bees can't get down there and get them. So I don't use these frames particularly. Starter strip is the way I like to go. This is a full sheet of foundation. I cut them 1 inch wide off a full sheet of foundation. Just lay a straight edge down, cut them 1 inch wide. That's how I make my starter strips. Put them in here. I've got another video up shows how to put the fishing line in. I think maybe you can see it here on my hand. I put fishing line in there. The bees draw it straight that way. And when I flip frames without wire or fishing line in there, you can't flip frames like this. They'll break loose if they're not attached. You got to stand them up and rotate them like this. So I put fishing line in all my frames. In your box, if you go with 8 frames, you'll need at least 20 deep frames to take care of you for the year. And then you'll need 20 medium frames. I prefer, like I say, the cleat board on the frames. That'll help explain a little bit on the wax and the frames. You know, these bee supply houses, they want to say all these little gimmicks. I'm just telling you what you really got to have to take care of bees, and basically that's all I use. I don't use nothing else. You'll need a veil of some kind, because you're a newbie, you're going to be afraid of the veil. I don't wear a veil with my bees. There are very little smoke, but a veil you're probably going to have. Gloves, shy away from gloves if you can. If the bees you sting a glove, you leave a pheromone down there, and every time you get your hands back in the hive, they smell that pheromone, and you're just going to rile them up and they're going to sting you. The bees, they won't, typically you buy good bees, you can just brush them around with your hand or whatever you got to do. They don't sting very often. Occasionally they do, like that. a hive tool. There's all kinds of hive tools. This is the most popular one, probably just an L-shaped bar. I use a paint roller scraper tool. I like this because I use both ends when I use this, and I get propolis on it, and it gets in my pockets and sticks in my pockets. So with the handle, I always put my hive tool in the handle and don't get it on there. So that takes care of the tools. You'll need a smoker. I would suggest you buy a bigger smoker in case you grow with, they just last longer and you don't have to fight with them. It's definitely, you gotta have a smoker of some sort on that. So basically that's all the equipment you will need to raise bees. I got other videos show you how to put them in. I just wanted to show the new people the bare bones minimum equipment you really need to raise bees. I hope it helps somebody. If you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and we'll catch you on the next one.